What does the Book of Enoch say about the height, behavior, and eventual fate of the giants or Nephilim? The Book of Enoch paints a terrifying, vivid picture of the giants, often associated with the Nephilim, casting them not just as oversized humans, but as a cataclysmic, predatory force that brought the ancient world to its knees. According to the text, specifically the Book of the Watchers, here is what is revealed about their staggering height, monstrous behavior, and grim, lingering fate. 1. Their mind-boggling height. The Book of Enoch does not skimp on scale. When the fallen angels, the Watchers, took human wives, their offspring grew to proportions that defied ecological survival. The text's dimension. In chapter 7, the text states that the women conceived and bore great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, sometimes translated as cubits. The scale. If we use the standard ancient cubit, roughly 18 inches or 45 centimeters, 3,000 cubits translates to an astronomical 4,500 feet, 1,370 meters, tall. The reality. While many modern scholars and theologians view this number as symbolic hyperbole to emphasize their unnatural, world-consuming scale, the literal text presents them as absolute titans, capable of altering the landscape. 2. Their insatiable and cruel behavior. The giants' behavior quickly devolved from a burden into an absolute apocalypse for early humanity. Because they were half angelic but bound to physical flesh, they possessed appetites that the earth simply could not sustain, consuming humanity's labor. Initially, they ate everything humanity produced. The text notes, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. Cosmic predators. Once human crops and humans themselves were not enough, their hunger turned chaotic. They began to sin against reptiles and fish. They devoured one another's flesh. They drank blood, a massive taboo in ancient Semitic culture, symbolizing their ultimate degradation and rejection of divine order. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Book of Enoch 7:5-6. 3. Their eventual fate. The cries of dying humanity eventually reached the heavens, prompting the Creator to decree an absolute, twofold destruction of the giants.
Mutual annihilation, the earthly fate. God did not send a lightning bolt to destroy the giants directly. Instead, he chose to turn their own violent nature against them. The archangel Gabriel was sent with a specific command: the civil war. Gabriel was instructed to incite conflict among the giants. Self-destruction. Because they had no promise of eternal life on earth, God let them slaughter one another in a massive, brutal war of mutual annihilation, while their bound Watcher fathers were forced to watch. The birth of evil spirits, the spiritual fate. Though their physical bodies perished in battle and were later washed away by Noah's flood, their spiritual essence could not be destroyed because they were born of eternal, angelic parents. The origin of demons, chapter 15, explains that because the giants were born of the spirit and the flesh, their spirits remained on the earth after their physical death. The evil spirits. The text explicitly defines these disembodied giant spirits as the demons that plague humanity. Because they have no physical bodies, they hunger and thirst but cannot eat, and they constantly work to ruin, corrupt, and oppress mankind. The final doom. These evil spirits are permitted to roam and torment humanity in the shadows, unchecked, until the day of the great consummation, the final judgment, when they and their angelic fathers will be cast into the eternal fire forever.